order. First, we have the local planning agency meeting, and I'm going to ask the clerk to do a roll call vote.
Mayor Weissman.
Here.
Vice Mayor Landman.
Here.
Commissioner Holtzberg.
Here.
Commissioner Narodsky.
Here.
Commissioner Shelley. Here. Commissioner Weinberg.
Here.
Mr. Soroka.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Commissioner Cohen is absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Mr. Cliff Schulman to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to take the liberty of asking for a moment of silent meditation to reflect on the events that took place in Dallas this past week. Okay. On a slightly lighter note, I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of the minutes March 1st, 2016.
Approval.
Approved by Commissioner Shelley. Can I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Landman. Can we have a vote?
Commissioner Holtzberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky.
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley.
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman.
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
Thank you. Our first order of business is a public hearing regarding a motion recommending adoption of an ordinance, and I'm going to ask the acting city attorney to please read it.
Yes, it's an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Section 31-144 Business Zoning Districts of the city's land development regulations by amending Section 31-144 C1 Community Business B2 District and add an electric vehicle retail showroom as permitted use in shopping centers with more than 1 million square feet of gross leasable area, with height not greater than 5 stories, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion recommending adoption of the ordinance on first reading? Motion made by Commissioner Holtzberg. Can I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Narodsky. I'm going to ask Joanne Carr to please present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff requests that the local planning agency recommend approval to the City Commission of an amendment to Section 31-144 Business Zoning Districts of the Land Development Regulations to add an electric vehicle retail showroom as a permitted use for parcels in the B2 zone that include one or more shopping center buildings that contain a total of more than 1 million square feet of gross leasable area and that do not exceed 5 stories in height. The applicant, Turnberry Associates, has requested this amendment to add a new use in the B2 Community Business District to permit an electric vehicle retail showroom at the Aventura Mall with the following conditions: that the use is permitted only for parcels that include one or more shopping center buildings that contain a total of more than 1 million square feet of gross leasable area and that do not exceed 5 stories in height; that no more than one electric vehicle retail showroom shall be allowed on the parcel; that no on-site vehicle storage or stock beyond the showroom and vehicles for test drive shall be allowed; that no more than 6 electric vehicles produced by the Electric Vehicle Motor Company shall be stored on site outside of the showroom to be used for test drives. No delivery of vehicles and or service of vehicles shall be permitted on site, and that prior to the establishment of the use, a plan describing the proposed location of the test drives, the location of the test drive vehicles, the proposed hours and location of test drives shall be submitted for approval of the city manager, and such review and approval will include, but is not limited to, consideration of traffic patterns, and traffic conditions in the parcel and in the city as a whole. Staff has analyzed the request using the standards in Section 3177 of the City Code for proposed amendments to the text of the Land Development Regulations and finds that it does meet the criteria. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I'm now going to open the item for public comment, and I'm going to request any member of the public that wants to come up and address this to please come up to the podium and state your name and address. Seeing as there are no comments from the public, I'm going to close the item for public comment. And I'm going to ask if any of the commissioners have any questions or comments. Commissioner Shelley.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. I just want to make sure this does not open up the ability for any other types of auto dealerships. This is purely like a retail type of operation in a retail sales location with the standards that you talked about with 1 million square feet, et cetera.
Yes, Commissioner, this is for an electrical vehicle showroom only in parcels that meet those criteria of the 1 million square feet of leasable, gross leasable area.
How many do we have in Aventura?
One.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Narotsky.
Hi, just a quick question. You mentioned that there would be a total of 6 vehicles. Was that for the outside only, or how many will be physically present on the inside?
The ordinance anticipates 6 vehicles parked in the parking area for test drives. I'll ask the applicant to address your question about the inside.
Yes, please state your name.
Good evening, Mickey Morero from the law firm of Burke, Howard, Allen Fernandez here on behalf of Turnberry Associates. To answer your question, 6 is solely for outside for test drive purposes. The typical showrooms have between 3 and 4 inside. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to say that I wholeheartedly support it. I think it's long overdue for our area. It meets with our green local government, and it's ecologically sound, so I'm fully in support of it. Anyone else? Commissioner Weinberg.
Thanks, Mayor. Obviously, we're doing this because we're a green city and it's the right thing to do. I just wanted to share briefly something that I read the other day, which is sort of the counter to this, where an expert said that electric vehicles are not the future. As gasoline-powered vehicles become more efficient, they will have a smaller carbon footprint than electric vehicles, because as of now, so much of the world's electricity is generated by coal. So that's a problem. If every vehicle was electric and the world is still generating electricity with coal, we're not helping ourselves. So there has to be a step 2 to this, but this is step 1, and we can't do much about coal right now, but we could allow this. So I just want people to be aware of that. It's not the end-all, be-all right now.
And probably by the time, Commissioner, that happens, none of us will be sitting here. But with that said, if there's no other comments, I'd like to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg? Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
Okay, now I need to ask for a motion to adjourn the local planning agency meeting.
Motion.
Made by Commissioner Weinberg, seconded by Vice Mayor Landman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The local planning meeting is adjourned. Okay, I'm going to call to order our regularly scheduled commission meeting for July 12th, and once again, I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Mayor Weissman?
Here.
Vice Mayor Landman?
Here.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Here.
Commissioner Narotsky?
Here.
Commissioner Shelley? Commissioner Weinberg?
Here.
Mr. Soroka?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Commissioner Cohen is absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask the city manager if we have any deletions or emergency additions to the agenda.
We have no changes.
Thank you. We have a couple of special presentations, and they're always special, but tonight's are just a little more special. So I'm going to ask the city manager to go first, please, with an Employee Services Award. And I'm going to ask any of the commission members that would like to go down to the podium and join the mayor
Who's this
in
for?
recognizing Bob Sherman.
Who's it for?
Bob Sherman.
Where is he?
Where is he?
Bob's hiding out in the
Hey,
back
the
room.
door. I can't get down right. And I better not. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to honor those employees that have reached certain milestones in their employment with the City of Aventura. And tonight we're recognizing Bob Sherman, our Community Services Advisory Director. Bob has completed 20 years with us this month. He was the third employee that was hired back in 1996, and before there was any parks or Founders Day or anything else that Bob has been responsible for. So we owe a lot to Bob, and congratulations on achieving your 20 years.
Would you like to say something?
I really don't know what to say. I can just say that this has never been a job. It's always been a way of life. And I really don't look at myself as being that important. But I do look at myself as being very lucky and fortunate to be a part of the best municipality, the organization that I know, and I've been in almost all 50 states, and this is the best. There's no doubt about it. I took my job seriously, and I strive to provide the best parks and playgrounds and landscape and bus services and projects to my absolute best. And I'm very thankful to work for a great city manager for 31 years, just about half my life, and great city commissions like yourselves, great employees, and I got a great family. And I just want to read this email I got from my wife today. It says, I'm so proud of who you are and all things that you've done to bring families together in parks, playgrounds, and other events. Looking back over the years, I'm filled with love, and I'm very proud of all the fun stuff we did over the years. I love Stacy. She said the best. And I love you guys. So I'm just lucky to be here, and I always have.
Just so you know, Bob is retiring in September, so this is a very special moment for all of us.
Okay, I have another very, very special proclamation, and I want to ask Lauren Morris Schulman to come up here. I think most of the people sitting here have known Lauren longer than I have, or at least as long as I have. One of the truly special people that make our community a joy to live in, and someone who's never said no, who answers the phone, who's there to help us in whatever way we need it. So, whereas Lauren Morris Schulman is a resident of the city of Aventura, and most recently held the position of the Florida Regional Political Director of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, and whereas throughout the past 26 years, her professional endeavors include her position as longtime congressional aide with the Honorable U.S. Congressional Representative E. Clay Shaw, Jr., William Lehman, Sr., District Director to State Senator Gwen Margolis, and Miami-Dade County Commissioner Sally Heyman, as well as principal of her own political campaign consulting firm, Lauren Morris and Associates. Whereas on May 27, 2016, family, friends, and colleagues celebrated Lauren's numerous accomplishments as she retired from the APAC. And whereas the City of Aventura would like to recognize Lauren Morris Schulman for her role in encouraging citizens to become more active in the political process and congratulate her on her recent retirement. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Enid Wiseman, as mayor and on behalf of the Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, do hereby proclaim July 12th, 2016 as Lauren Morris Schulman Day. I wish we could make it every day. From the bottom of our heart, our community would not be what it is without Lauren. And I met her when she worked for Clay Shaw and have known her and felt blessed to have known her. And I'm serious. And I'm so glad, and I need to recognize State Senator Gwen Margolis, County Commissioner Sally Heyman, of course her wonderful husband Cliff Schulman, and her family. Cities are there, but they become special because of the people that live in them, and you're one of those special treasures that we have.
Thank you. Just very quickly, I just want to, truly humbled, really. Thank you so much for this honor. I have known just about all of you a very long time. My dear pal Eric and I go back to the incorporation of the City of Aventura, a long time, and my dear friend Gwen, Sally, thank you so much. It's been a great career. I love what I do, and all of you are here tonight. You know, you're part of the process. This is a great thing. Love everybody. I am truly humbled. Thank you so much to my family.
Thank you, Lauren.
The best, the best.
Take care.
Okay. Okay, the next issue of business tonight is our consent agenda. And I'm going to ask if any member of the commission would like to remove an item from the consent agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to
Commissioner
discuss
Shelley?
item C.
Commissioner Shelley has asked that item C be removed from the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second, definitely.
Second by Commissioner Holtzberg. Anything else to be withdrawn from the consent agenda? Okay, then I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the consent agenda minus item C. Motion made by Commissioner Holtzberg. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Landman. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Narosky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman,
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
Okay. Now we have item C, and I'm going to ask that the board attorney read the item.
Yes, Mayor. Item C on your consent agenda is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, expressing the city's strong objection to Miami-Dade County's proposed mandatory workforce housing ordinance, urging the Miami-Dade County Board of County Commissioners and the county's Metropolitan Services Committee not to apply the proposed ordinance within the City of Aventura or within any other objecting municipality, providing for distribution, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to open it for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address it? Will you please state your name and address for the record?
Thank you. There we go. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Truly Burton. I represent the Builders Association of South Florida. I'm their Executive Vice President. I'm here to actually support a voluntary proposal. Okay, I was at the City of Doral a few weeks ago and did the same thing. Our organization, certainly, we build housing. We build housing that we hope, knock wood, most people can afford, okay? Especially the workforce. It's very important. To clarify any recent discussions to the contrary, BSF's position has always been, since 2008, on that ordinance and the current one, it is to be a voluntary package. Our organization has never advocated and does not support, then and now, a mandatory ordinance in any way, shape, or form. So I was hearing some buzzing to the contrary. I'm here to clarify the record and also to very proudly state that we endorse what the City of Aventura is doing. I think you all are headed in the right direction. That's what our incentive list does indicate. I'll be happy to submit that for the record if anybody is interested. But what I'm hoping is this, that once the county adopts if they do adopt a voluntary, they need a new and improved set of voluntary incentives, first of all. The ones that they have now are not working. That's why no one has used this ordinance, okay, first. Second, one of the things that we do suggest is that once the county does adopt an incentive package that works, that actually generates workforce housing, that they share that good governance with the rest of the cities so you all can consider whether or not they are applicable to your city and use them as you all see fit. So again, that is our position, just to make sure that the position comes from the organization and not from anyone else. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Anybody else from the public that wishes to address this item? Okay, any commissioners? Commissioner Shelley.
Yeah, the reason I pulled it is I believe it's way too important to put on a consent agenda and just have it passed over and approved without the people understanding the critical nature of what could possibly come from a resolution such as this. Being a developer builder myself in many counties that do have this problem or have this ordinance, it is a nightmare to deal with because unfortunately when it's mandatory you must put in a percentage of housing, of workforce housing, and it does not blend with whatever the intention was originally of the zoning that was there for that site. Take a city like Aventura, which is a high-rise community, it makes it even worse because it would almost be impossible to have workforce housing put into a building that's geared towards condominiums of a certain price range, etc. The other additional problem that you have is the way this is being handled at the county. Number one, it is not being heard by the commission. Initially, it's being put together by a committee, and their alternative to workforce housing is you pay a certain amount of money for it. However, there's no proof that where those funds go ever help the workforce needs that are in the community. I'm in definitely favor of workforce housing, but not a mix and match within a community, but rather as a voluntary or a responsibility of the municipality that wants the workforce housing, so it fits into the community and it goes along with the intention that was underlying zoning at the time. So my feeling is right now to take this kind of an ordinance and make it mandatory, as Ms. Burton said, is a travesty because the county is doing something which the county does need, but they're imposing their responsibilities onto municipalities that don't have the ability or the wherewithal to comply with it without having a detriment to the community it's going into. So for that reason, I wanted to take it off and discuss it and bring this to the attention because it's not something compatible with all communities. It's compatible with certain communities, and therefore it should be mandatory, and the county should not. It should be voluntary to these communities there it's not compatible with, and let the county deal with their responsibilities without passing their responsibilities on to cities and municipalities that can't comply with it without a definite negative benefit to it. Thank you.
Commissioner Shelley, I could not agree with you more. I would think by this time in Dade County, we would know one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
And while we all strongly support workforce housing, mandates from a county just can't go to every municipality. We're too big and too different, and I really appreciate your taking it off the agenda. Commissioner Weinberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I concur with what Commissioner Shelley just said. I'll try not to repeat anything he said and to make my feelings known. To me, the first problem is the county usurping our authority as a municipality and telling us what's best for us. The same thing happens often in Tallahassee, and they tell us what's good for us, which usually it isn't, in fact. The goal is very noble. The need is very real. Nobody would dispute that, the need for workforce housing. The problem is that the issue, based on what the county is proposing currently, they're taking the problem and they're taking a subset of the community and saying, you are responsible for solving this problem. You, because you happen to build homes, are responsible for solving our problem. And not only do I think that's not fair, I'm not sure it could survive a legal challenge. If you look at our community in particular, which is the one that we need to be concerned with the most, we are a virtually 100% condominium association municipality, the largest all-condo municipality in the state of Florida. Workforce housing, if you require it in a condominium project, what you have basically is, at the end of the day, with condominiums, you have turnover from the developer to the association. Then the association is left in perpetuity with subsidizing the maintenance fees, the monthly fees for those unit owners living in the workforce housing. So number one, I doubt you're going to find many buyers for a condominium once they read the condominium documents and realize that they're going to be paying for their neighbors' amenities more than their fair share. That smacks to me as a form of government that most of us are not comfortable with. It's certainly not our normal form of government that's generally accepted in the United States of America. And then there are other problems because, as I understand and from what I've read, when this has been tried in places like New York City, you end up creating two different classes of residents, and that's not something that's conducive. Those are unintended consequences. So there are buildings in New York where it pejoratively called a poor door, and so some of the residents are not going into the doorman door, they're going into a side door to get into the same building because they're not paying the same amount for their monthly maintenance, therefore they're not entitled to the same amenities. And if they were entitled to the same amenities, it would create dissension among those that have to fund the majority of that. So this is so easy for the county to say, here's the solution. In practice, it's a very complex problem, and what they're proposing is certainly not the workable solution.
Vice Mayor Lamon.
Thank you, Mayor. I wholeheartedly agree with what Commissioner Shelley said, and I want to thank Ms. Burton for coming here to state the Builders Association position. We're happy to hear that, and I also want to let everyone know that we are working with the Miami-Dade League of Cities to push forward and try to get this resolution or this ordinance modified so that it doesn't become something that's mandatory, and I think that's what we would be looking at, so we appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Commissioner Narodsky.
I again concur with the opposition to the resolution in its current form. I just wanted to say, anybody in the audience or watching us on TV or on rebroadcast, this is an extremely urgent and important issue for us. I would encourage everybody to just look up the names of the county commissioners online, have your friends just call their office and voice opposition to it. And you can even have friends that live in other parts of the county and call their commissioners and voice their opposition, because at some point there's going to be a vote on it, and we'd like to make sure that it's defeated in its current form. This is extremely, extremely important, and since I came on the commission about 2 years ago, this is, in my view, the most important issue that we've really have to be against in its current form. So the public advocacy, the phone calls do matter. If somebody is swaying in their decision-making process and they got 50 phone calls against, that will give them a sense that the constituents are against it, which is very, very important. The public does have a voice and an important role. So we're doing everything that we can on our end, but it's really up to the residents to help and give a push against the current resolution. Thank you.
Okay. With that said, I want to make this really clear that our resolution is expressing the city's strong objection to the county's resolution, and this is what Mrs. Burton also supported. So with that said, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve item C, our resolution to oppose the counties.
Motion.
The motion was made by Commissioner Narotsky,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Holtzberg. All those in, let me get a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
thank you. The next item on our agenda is we move into the quasi-judicial public hearings. They're zoning hearings, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the procedures in the first resolution for the quasi-judicial hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, please be advised, the following items on the Commission's agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to object or comment upon any of these items, please inform the Mayor when she requests public comments. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you refuse either to be cross-examined or to be sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the Commission to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization, and further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk.
Okay, I'm going to ask the city attorney to please read Resolution A.
Resolution A is Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, granting approval of variance to Section 31-238J of the City Code to allow a 468 square foot, 12-foot tall accessory utility shed at the North Marina at Williams Island, where a maximum of 100 square feet, 8-foot high utility shed is permitted by code, in variance from Section 31-238J of the City Code to allow a front yard setback of 20 feet, 9.5 inches, where a minimum 25-foot front yard setback is required, a north side yard setback of 4 feet, where a minimum 12-foot is required, and a 2-foot by 3.5-inch rear yard setback where a minimum 12-foot is required, all for a utility shed accessory to the Williams Island North Marina located at 4100 Island Boulevard, CU2, City of Aventura, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'm going to ask now if there's anyone that wishes to testify on this resolution. I'm going to ask that the city clerk provide the oath.
If you will be testifying on this item, I need you to stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in at this time. If you have any comments on this item, please be sworn in at this time. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the resolution. Made by Commissioner Holzberg, seconded by Commissioner Shelley. I'm going to ask Joanne Carr to present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, HSH Willisle Marina Company LLP, is requesting variance approval to construct an accessory utility shed at the Williams Island North Marina in a size and at a height larger than permitted by code and with reduced front, side, and rear yard setbacks. Staff is recommending approval of this variance request with the conditions that the shed conform to the plans that are submitted with this application, and that a permit is obtained within 12 months of the date of approval, and that all necessary permits are obtained from other governmental authorities having jurisdiction. I'll put up a location plan.
It's lovely, you know. Picture's beautiful, shows the picture.
The North Marina is located just to the south of Northeast 183rd Street. I'll give you a more detailed location. Here's a Google Earth aerial. So you see this is Northeast 183rd Street. This is the entrance road to Williams Island. This is the exit road. And the North Marina is here, just immediately to the east of the guardhouse. Section 31238J of the City Code does allow a utility shed as an accessory use, but it limits it to a maximum of 100 square feet, a maximum height of 8 feet, and with the yard setbacks as required in the zoning district. The variance request is for a 468 square foot storage shed where a maximum of 100 square feet is allowed by code, with a height of 12 feet where a maximum height of 8 feet is allowed by code, a front setback of 20 feet 9.5 inches where a 25-foot front yard setback is required by code, a north side yard setback of 4 feet where 12 feet is required by code, and that setback is to be no less than the height of the building as required by the accessory use code, and a rear yard setback of 2 feet to 3.25 inches, where 12 feet is required. This is a replacement of an existing shed.
It's the old one.
Here's the shed that was existing. It was in disrepair, and it has been removed. This is the subject of this evening's request. It is a new utility shed, 468 square feet and 12 feet high. It's in the same location as the existing shed. Here's the site plan. It will sit on a paved area. It doesn't affect any of the parking spaces in the North Marina. It sits on a paved area, so it's not affecting any landscape open space. The front setback, here is Island Boulevard, the exit. The front yard setback is 20 feet, just over 20 feet, almost 21 feet. It does meet this side setback. The south setback does not meet the north setback or the south or the east setback to the rear. I'll show you the area that the shed is going. This is a Google Earth shot of the road end at Northeast 183rd Street, so the shed will be immediately behind here, so it's well screened with existing landscaping from the view of the road, and they will be planting more landscaping when they build the new building. Here's a survey of the ownership parcel. The marina is owned. The parking area is one parcel. The marina is a separate parcel, and the POA, Williams Island POA, maintains the common area in between. Staff has analyzed this variance request using the criteria in Section 3176E of the City Code, and it finds that it does meet those criteria. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Commissioner Holzberg.
I'm just saying that the difference is absolutely outstanding. If it was me, I would have approved, because I don't know if the people around the area are unhappy about it, but I think I personally would like this one much better.
Okay, let me ask if the applicant has any comments, because we swore someone in. If you do, let me ask you just to state your name and address for the record.
Ray Rosario, Operations Manager at Williams Isle Marina. I don't have any comments, but apparently the old shed we had there was really in disrepair, and we had it removed probably 8 or 9 months ago. It was wood and aluminum, and obviously this is to hurricane code, much safer. And the main use is going to be to actually store our oil containment booms in case there's a spill at the marina. We have quick access to the waters and having it in that location. So it's really utility purpose, but also safety for our marina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me open this item for public comment. Is there any member of the public that would like to address this? Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close the item for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has a question or comment. Commissioner Shelley.
Yeah, just a side note. I've been given approval that the residents or the POA of Williams Island, which is the adjacent property owner, are in favor of doing this, and they weren't against doing it.
Thank you. Commissioner Weinberg.
Obviously, this was publicly noticed, and there's no opposition here. I was just wondering if anything was received via email or anything else in opposition.
Nothing was received in opposition. I did have a telephone call from the property manager from the peninsula. He asked me to see the pictures. I sent him the pictures of the former and new shed, and the same picture that I showed you of the road end and how it would be screened by landscaping, and they were satisfied.
Thank you. And I'm just wondering if it would be possible for me to rent that shed and live on Williams Island.
Yeah, we'll call it workforce housing. Okay, let me ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holzberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the resolution, item B.
Yes, Mayor. Item B is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, granting conditional use approval pursuant to Section 31-143F4 of the city's land development regulations to permit the installation of an above-ground fuel storage tank in the RMF4 multifamily high-density residential district, granting variance from Section 31-143F4A of the city's land development regulation to permit a 2,000-gallon capacity above-ground fuel storage tank where a maximum 550-gallon capacity above-ground fuel storage tank is permitted by code for property located at 19355 Turnberry Way, City of Aventura, Florida, providing for conditions and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. If there's anyone that wishes to testify, I'm going to ask the clerk to provide the oath.
If you will be testifying on this item, I need you to stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in at this time. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the resolution. Motion made by Commissioner Shelley. Can I have a second?
Second.
Vice Mayor, seconded by Vice Mayor Landman. I'm going to recognize Joanne Carr and ask her to present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, Turnberry Towers Condominium Association, Inc., is requesting conditional use approval and variance approval to install an above-ground fuel storage tank to store fuel for its emergency generator. Staff is recommending approval of the conditional use and variance applications with the conditions that a permit be obtained within 12 months of the date of approval, and that any discontinuation of the conditional use for a period of 180 consecutive days or more will constitute abandonment and rescind the conditional use approval. Put up a location plan. It's Turnberry Towers at the corner of Yacht Club Way and Turnberry Way. There's an aerial so you can see it a little better. This is the Lehman Causeway. This is Turnberry Way. This is Turnberry Towers. If you continue on, this is Mystic Point, Marina Towers, Turnberry Isle here. The proposed above-ground fuel storage tank location is on the west side of the parking garage at this location. This is a street view from Turnberry Way. The tank is proposed to be located approximately where this white van is. And there's a detail of where it will be sited. The city code, the Turnberry Towers condominium is located in the RMF4, multifamily high-density residential zone. The city code does allow, following conditional use approval, an above-ground storage tank to store fuel for emergency generators at buildings in this zoning district, provided that the tank is 550 gallons in size or less, is installed under a valid permit from Miami-Dade County Department of Environmental Resources Management, is fully screened by a masonry or concrete wall with a self-closing and self-locking door, that the enclosure wall is landscaped, and that the setbacks comply with the zoning district regulations. The proposed size of the tank is 2,000 gallons, where a 550-gallon tank is allowed by code. Therefore, variance approval is required for the size of the tank. The applicant has submitted plans showing compliance with the other conditions of the conditional use approval. That is, Miami-Dade Durham has approved its permit. It is fully screened by a concrete wall with a self-closing and self-locking door. The enclosure wall is landscaped, and the setbacks comply with the setbacks required in the zone. Staff has analyzed the conditional use approval application using the standards in Section 3176C of the City Code and finds that it does meet those standards. Staff has also analyzed the variance approval request using the standards in Section 3176E of the City Code, and again finds that the application meets those standards. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, let me ask the applicant if they have any comments. Please, when you come up to the microphone, state your name and address.
My name is Jerry Blyweiss. I'm the Community Association Manager for Turnberry Towers, 19355 Turnberry Way, and I agree with staff's recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's now open for public comment. If there's anyone from the public that would like to address this item. Seeing as there's none, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any commissioner has a comment. Commissioner Weinberg.
Is this, Joanne, the fuel that's being stored, is that to power a generator?
Yes, it is.
And do you know, or does anyone know, what the difference is in terms of how many days this can run with what our code allows on the 550 gallons compared to the 2,000?
Yes, big difference.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Dale Muchler, Fort Pierce, Florida. I'm the contractor. The 550 gallons would only limit the generator, which does run the building entirely. It would only limit it to approximately around 2 days. The 2,000 gallon will limit it to shortly over a 5-day run, which gives them enough time for refueling in between in case of emergency. And it is diesel, not gasoline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if I can respond to that, in my opinion, if we have an event, a weather event, which we've been very lucky the last 10 years, knock on wood, or whatever you believe in, the idea is if we're off the grid, the least number of properties we have to worry about, the better. So the fact that they can now fully power the building for a week if you had to, and there's time for refueling to come in, should be encouraged. We want I would think, as many properties as possible to be self-sufficient in that event. I think the manager wants to say something.
So over probably the last 6 or 7 years, I would say 8 or 9 buildings have done exactly what they're doing, upgrading their facility. And you'd have to check with them. And also looking at putting it above ground. It's a safer, more environmentally friendly setup. So yes. a lot of them
Great.
have been
So
doing
this is something that I think should be encouraged. My questions or my comments are, number one, I assume that we have landscaping requirements and things like that. We certainly don't want a city of fuel tanks from a pedestrian level.
Yes, the tank will be enclosed by a concrete wall and landscaping all around that wall.
Thank you. And then my other comment is this something, not now, but at a later workshop, we should consider amending the code to increase the capacity, or is it something we should do on a variance basis each time? And that's just a question that doesn't have to be answered now.
Okay, because I was going to say you're free to bring it as a resolution to a workshop. Commissioner Narotsky, I think you.
My question was answered in the form that it's a safety upgrade, that it's above ground now, so thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing as there are no other comments, I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley? Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes,
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
thank you. The next item on our agenda, 1 second. Is an ordinance on first public reading. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the ordinance for first reading.
Yes, Mayor, this is item 7. This is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Section 31-144 Business Zoning Districts of the city's land development regulations by amending Section 31-144C1 Community Business B2 District to add an electric vehicle retail showroom as permitted use in shopping centers with more than 1 million square feet of gross leasable area, with height not greater than 5 stories, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. Would also like to state that the testimony, the statements, and the evidence that were placed on the record previous under the LPA meeting are incorporated and will be made part of the legislative hearing record for this particular item.
Thank you. Let me ask a motion for approval of the ordinance on first reading.
Motion.
Made by Vice Mayor Landman. Can I have a second? Second made by Commissioner Shelley. I'm going to open this item for public discussion. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address this? Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any commissioner has any comments or questions on the item. Okay, seeing as there is none, and I think we did talk about it at the LPA sufficiently, I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley? Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Yes,
Commissioner Cohen is absent. The motion passes.
thank you. Okay, item 9, we have for the public hearing, I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the first resolution to be considered.
Yes, 9A is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, accepting and adopting in principle subject to annual revision and authorization the City of Aventura Capital Improvement Program document for fiscal year 2016-17 to 2020-21, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this resolution and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Holtzberg. Can I have a second? Second made by Commissioner Shelley. I'm going to ask the city manager to please talk to this.
So this is the resolution approving in principle our capital improvement program for the next 5 years. We discussed this at length at the recent workshop meeting, and basically it's valued at $15.4 million. The majority of that money is earmarked for stormwater drainage improvements, about $2.8 million, $2.3 million for road resurfacing. Then we have street light upgrading of $1.4 million, park improvements coming in about $1 million, and then we've got other equipment and technology improvements that will be happening over the next 5 years. Also, as we discussed at that workshop meeting, we're not recommending a tax increase for the upcoming fiscal year to support any of these projects. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I'm going to open it to the public. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this? Seeing as there none, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any commissioners have any questions or comments.
Yeah, just a quick
Commissioner Shelley.
question to the city manager. If I'm not mistaken, is this the item where we increased the increase that we needed to cover any and facilitated any items that you might need or forthcoming?
So that's item B that's coming up next. That's the stormwater utility fee. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone?
Nope.
Nope.
That's it.
Okay, I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Commissioner Cohn is absent. The motion passes.
Thank you. I'm going to now ask the city attorney to read the next resolution to be considered. It's item B.
Yes, Mayor. Item B is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Resolution 9885, which established the rate of stormwater utility fee by amending the rate of the stormwater utility fee for the City of Aventura stormwater management system, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this resolution, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution? Moved by Commissioner Weinberg. Can I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Shelley. City Manager, I'm going to ask you to explain the resolution.
As we discussed at the workshop meeting, reviewing the capital improvement needs regarding the stormwater drainage and the maintenance of our drainage facilities, it was recommended we increase the fee by $1 a month from $2.50 to $3.50 a month, and this will generate about another $400,000 into that fund for improvements as we go forward.
Thank you. It's open to the public for any questions or comments. Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I'm going to ask any member of the commission if they have any comments or questions.
Just a quick question.
Commissioner Shelley.
Yeah, Eric, on this, I believe this coming year you anticipated a need for about 200,000 or thereabouts?
So there's, let me just go real quick. We're doing some seawall maintenance on two specific areas that are going to run about $1 million. And then there's other improvements that they're making that probably runs in about another 400,000 or so. But this starts the process because, as you know, we've got that study ongoing now looking at the effects of the sea rise on our drainage systems. So we'll be back next year looking at full-blown results of that study.
So you're comfortable that this is a good start?
Yeah, at this point, this is a good start to help us fund those projects.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had just a quick question
Yes.
about this. If memory serves me right, at the workshop, we established that this would pretty much cover us. We don't anticipate any future unless something very unusual happens. Is that correct?
We did not say that. What we said is this would get us through the next year, and that the results of the study would come back to the commission based on what the consultants came up with in terms of what the future needs were for the city as far as drainage and addressing the sea level rise.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor Landman?
So, just for the general public or anyone watching, we're really trying to be proactive and think long-term and get ahead of this potential issue that will or may affect our community. So this is why we're doing this now, and after the study, we'll revisit and see, okay, what do we need to protect our city?
I think it's important to note for the record that this fee has not been increased in 18 years. The other thing, it's the lowest fee in Miami-Dade County in terms of stormwater systems that most of the cities have adopted. Some of them are up in the $20 range. We're still at $3.50.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Holtzberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley, Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landman,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
Commissioner Cohn is absent. The motion passes.
thank you. At this point in the agenda, I'm going to ask if any commissioner members have anything to report. Okay, I'm going to open it for any public comments. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the commission? Okay, as there is no other business that I'm aware of, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion made by Commissioner Holtzberg,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Landman.